Okay, so hey guys, it's Quinston, and today we're going to look at merge sort as an algorithm. So basically, this merge sort, it follows the same principles as kind of the quick sort, as in the divide and conquer technique. So what we do in merge sort is basically break down the array into individual parts and then recombine them in different functions to form a proper sorted array. It does sound a bit complicated, but it's actually not that complicated. I mean, it is a bit, understanding wise, you have to understand it a bit, but yeah, it's not difficult. I mean, nothing is difficult in computer science if you have the proper, concepts in your head. So we're gonna start with writing the first function. This is the framework I made for all the sorts. I covered bubble sort, merge sort. I'm covering merge sort right now, quick sort, and insertion sort. I use the same framework. It's basically something that has an array, two-sort array, and it's the length is of 10 max is the final value, and it's not going to change. And random values being filling in and printing it out and printing it out again. So let's just go over here in the beginning of the algorithm, the end of the algorithm. All the algorithms go in here. So I'm going to write merge sort helper, and yeah, that's about it. And in here I'm going to pass a few parameters. The first one is the array, that is the two-sort array. That is the array I named. And then I'm going to pass the start of the array and the end of the array. So the element from where it starts and the element to where it ends. And I'm going to come over here and just create a method. It's easier like this. I mean, no big deal. Private static void merge sort helper int. Yeah. Here I'm going to come over here and change it to first. And I'm going to go over here and change it to last. Because, I like to have names which actually make sense, like two-sort array, the array which is to be sorted. I like that. I mean, it's how it is. Anyway, then we go to partition, and in the partition we put a few values that is the same thing which pass over here. But this is just to give it the feel of actually partitioning the array, and it's not required to make this function. You can even make like directly here you can put partition and it will run perfectly, but this is just to make sense basically. I mean, you can't have computer science without it making sense. I mean, that's really ridiculous. You need something to pull you towards the logic. Okay, you have two-sort array, and then we have the first and the last element. Okay, isn't that pretty good? Then we come over here and make another function. Awesome. Yeah, it's private static void static. What is static? It just means that it is a part of a class and you can access it from the class set. Void, yeah, it's a return value. I don't know, I just thought I should say something about it. Anyway, we're going to partition, and in the partition what we're going to do is actually partition stuff. Okay, so the first thing we need to calculate is the midpoint of the array. So we should see, how do you calculate the midpoint? You go, suppose you have whatever, first plus last divided by 2, take the average, don't you? That's the exact same thing what we do over here. So we have int mid, which is equal to, always use brackets because computers are dumb, and you should be smart enough to use brackets. Last divided by 2. Okay, anyway, if that is done, we have a variable which has mid, which has the the values of this. So that's pretty good. Then we're gonna call the partition again. So we're gonna partition, and we're gonna go two-sort array, and in here we're gonna pass in first because that's where the it starts. Because look, right now we are not dealing with zeros or n or the last value like 10 numerical values. This is purely based on the variables. If your variables don't have the proper values, like if first is equal to suppose 3 after a particular iteration, your first is not going to be 0, so you can't pass 0 over here obviously. Okay, so then you pass mid over here. So you're breaking down the array slowly, one by one. You're taking the first to the last, and you break it down into the first to the mid, and then the mid plus 1 to the last. Then you break it down from the first to the mid in between 2. So that's just mid 1 and mid 1 to mid. It literally just breaking down the array one by one. You're partitioning it from the middle. That's what you need to understand over here. Okay, so you have partition, and then you have two-sort array, and then you have the mid plus 1, which is over here, and then you have last. So this is a particular index. This is not a range, this is an index. It goes from this index, the first index, to the mid index, and the mid plus 1 index, so to the last index. We are dealing with something like this is less than max. We're dealing with I is less than equal to that, so this is less than equal to whatever. Okay, then we have the merge. So where do we merge? We go merge, and here we go to sort array. Obviously we're gonna pass the array, it's gonna be everywhere. And we have the merging points, that is the first, the mid, and the last. These are the merging points which we're gonna have. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is actually make the merge method. Okay, so we do that. There's one thing which I like about Java. They took the effort to find something different than C++. I mean, they named their functions methods. I like calling them methods instead of functions. Methods sounds more classy. It's a bit of whatever, man, just text. Okay, so we are here now, and next we want to now what we're doing is we're merging the arrays. Okay, partitioning is done. Now everything is partitioned into individual bits and pieces. So now we need to merge them together so that they are properly sorted. So what is the exact current scenario which we are dealing with? So we have first, we have mid, and we have a last. So let us look at this in the format of an array. So suppose this is an array of about 6 letters, 6 boxes, whatever, 6 length 6. So we're going from 0 to 5. So we have first is equal to 0, last is equal to 5, and mid is equal to 2, because 0 plus 5 by 2 is 2.5, and the integer of 2.5 is going to be floored. That's about 2. So we have 0 to 2 to 0 to 2 and 2 to 4, 5. Sorry. So yeah, obviously. So that is just imagine it like that, and then we can understand it. So we are going to consider a new array. So we want to make a new array. Let's make a new array. Okay. Int. How do you make an array in Java? It's very simple. New array equals to int and max, because this is going to be the same length of as that of the previous array we had, the two-sort array. This array is going to be the same length as this one. Okay. So next we have the first. So I want to declare new variables because these are the constants. I want to keep these values as constants because I don't want them to change. I want them to be comparable. So we have int I, j, and k. Why I, j, and k? Just because it's very simple. You can't have like big names now because it's a video, and yeah. But if you're making this in a real world, I encourage you to use proper new terminology. Anyway, next you have the initialization. So I'm going to initialize I to first because that's going to be the first one, j to mid plus 1, and k is going to be 0. Now why did I do this? I is going to be the pointer to the first element of the array, j is going to be the pointer to the mid plus 1, that is the next array. I mean, there are two arrays right now, we're merging them together in order to form one array which is sorted. Just remember that. Anyway, k is equal to 0 because that is our counter, which is going to act as the one which actually combines the arrays and counts them and increases the values. You'll understand that when we get into the further sense of things. Anyway, I think this is enough for the first part of this tutorial, and we're going to continue this in the next part. So do stay tuned if you want to learn some merge sorting. Like, subscribe, share, and if anybody needs this, it's free. You can share it to them, and yeah, follow me on whatever you want. I mean, it's not compulsory, but it makes me feel happy. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye bye.